see, the benefit of Devaloka will be less there. So now, the freedom from Kamaloka itself is the second level of Nibbana. He will never be born in these planes and therefore never suffer from the states of mental states where karmas lead to these states. You see, in the Kamaloka, one is born, whether as a human being or as a deva, because of certain actions, certain volitional actions, that is intentional activity that he or she has committed, that leads to rebirth in this Kamaloka, the world where desire, you see, motivates everything. An example may be, say, in a river or a pond or a lake. You see, it's a watery world. So in that watery world, all those beings who live in the lake or in the sea or ocean, you see, they are steeped in water. Everything, whatever they see, their senses, seeing, hearing, etc. Everything is connected with you see, it is attuned to that plane of watery existence. So they are absolutely soaked in that watery existence. Similarly, for a human being, we are now soaked in the air, for the existence of air. You see, so here our senses function in a very different way. So, just as senses are attuned to the world in which we exist, similarly our minds are also attuned to the world in which we exist. Now, for instance, we have different cultures, we have different civilizations, different ways of interacting with the world, with the people, different languages, different ways of understanding things. Now, if a person is born in Europe and is attuned to the European culture, so the thousands of years of European civilization, that culture and civilization his consciousness will be soaked into that. So he will behave as a European in a certain way that an Asian will not do, or an African will not do, or an American will not do. So even an example, if you take an example here in this small worldly existence of global existence, in the world, our Prithvi. You see, in this, different areas, different types of human being, different culture, different language, all this. So in Devaloka also, similarly. So the mind gets very much attuned to the place where you are born. Mind gets stimulated by the plane of existence where you are born. So mind interacts with the world in which it is, and the world also gets affected by the mind. Now Hitler is born, he created a world war. My goodness, billions of people, literally people died. Mao Zedong created similarly a tremendous catastrophe and all that. So there are human beings who are born to bring so much misery, and there are human beings who are born to bring so much of happiness. One Buddha who is born, how much happiness, how much bliss, how much safety and security that human beings and other beings enjoy. So if we understand how life can be conditioned, how life can be influenced by the external world, and the external world also is influenced by our lives, subjective world. Once we understand this, then you extrapolate this understanding with the life of a saint. Now, for instance, a saint who is delivered, who is anagami, who can be born only in the very sublime state of the Brahma gods. My goodness, they don't live in terms of years, they live in terms of kalpa, aeons, millions and billions of years, you see. So now these beings, they don't have all the senses that we have got here. They have only two senses, the eye and the ear. So their minds are so liberated and freed, because the more sense you have, the more avenues you create. Let us say for human beings, we have eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. These six senses. Now this sense in the purely physical, as a physical sense organ, these are the doors, these senses, which keep us in contact with the external world. So we are in contact with the external world by way of seeing, by way of hearing, by way of smelling, by way of tasting, by way of thinking. That means so many doors, so many avenues are open to us for the mind to get either defiled or purified. You see, and let us say your eye and its external object, which is the visible object. Your eye sees a tree, or a flower, or a man, or a woman, or any object of this world. And the eye gets immediately stimulated by that object, and there is a concurrence of the two. They impinge upon each other, and this impingement immediately gives rise to consciousness, which simply means ability to see, seeing. So when eye and visible objects meet, you see an object. Either you like the object, or you dislike the object, or you are neutral about it, you don't care about it. Or the other process where you deeply think about, consider yoniso manasikara, wisely consider that object, very wisely. Then your instrument of valuation will be very different. In the ordinary sense, you see an object, you like it, so you have to enjoy it. Or you dislike it, you recoil from it, you throw it away. So this like and dislike creates love and hate. All the 8 loka dhammas, all the 8, the phenomenal experience of the phenomenal world, like labha, alabha, gain, loss, yasa, ayasa, fame or ill repute, ninda, prasansa, blame or praise, sukhan cha dukkhan, happiness or pleasure or pain. Now these are the 8 qualities of worldly existence here in this plane as a human being, and also other. So when you see an object, you immediately react in terms of these 8 phenomena, 8 reactions or responses. You see, you either like it, you dislike it, so you want to enjoy it. And when you enjoy it, you end up creating a state of mind which is unwholesome. You get involved in an unwholesome, evil state of consciousness. And then you commit an unwholesome action. So this object, this interaction with the object, between I and the object, you end up committing a karma, a bad karma. You want to enjoy that object. If you are a man, you see a woman and then your mind gets defiled, there you are, you commit a karma. Your own family, for instance, you begin to be attracted by your counterpart. There you are, all the time getting involved in that way. Or you see a nice food somewhere, and the smell attracts. And then you get involved to a bad karma. Or some prejudice has come, so and so. A few days ago, we couldn't get any flower to do puja to Lord Buddha. Why? They were afraid that somewhere in North India, a Hindu-Muslim are going to create a big war and they will fight. There will be a communal war and this and that. So no flower, no puja. So how this world affects you? 100,000 different ways is absolutely, very, very wonderful thing to observe and understand. If you understand how the senses can involve you, either in a good way or in a bad way. Bad way you end up committing bad karma. Good way you end up committing good karma. Whether good or bad karma, you end up in being born somewhere. Because karma means it has an action which has got a potency, a power to produce a given result. And the result is rebirth. You are reborn, for instance, in a plane of existence. Now the anagami I was talking about is incapable of doing any of these evil actions. Incapable of pertaining to the kama loka. But he can commit action pertaining to rupa loka, the brahma loka. So he will be born there. But his mind is not as defiled as those who belong to the kama loka. His mind is very sublime and pure. He thinks in terms of metta, love, universal love. All his thoughts are all the time projected and radiated towards all the world, lower planes of existence. May all beings be happy. He is thinking in terms of happiness of all. Here in the kama loka, your mind is too much soiled by desire. So you think more about yourself rather than others. So thinking about self puts you, inside the jail of egocentricity, sakkaya ditthi, a sense of self, I-ness, my-ness, and all that sort of thing. So you are imprisoned in that world of defilement. And therefore, so this world affects, but for the anagami, no, it doesn't affect in any manner. But since he is thinking of others' well-being, he has compassion, he has other wonderful qualities. He goes upwards, up and up and up, so that a state comes where he attains magga and phala. That is the transcendental states of deliverance. He becomes a sotapanna, sakadagami, anagami, Arahat. These are stages of transcendental transformed consciousness, reflecting the attainment of Nibbana. They have attained Nibbana that way. So it is called Vimukti Jnana Darsana. Vimukti Jnana Darsana. Vimukti means deliverance. Now Anagami is delivered, freed, liberated from the world of Kamaloka. But he is still in the samsara, though very high, sublime God, but he is not freed from birth and death. He can be born there, and therefore he has to die there. And in between birth and death, he will commit all kinds of karmas pertaining to that sublime state. And therefore he will, keep on being born in that plane, if it is all good ones. But if it is bad, then he can come down too. So this being in bondage, in the jail, in the imprisonment of karma, so long you are tied down to karma, you are capable of performing a karma, so long you are in samsara. Repeated existence to be born again and again, to die again and again, and so on. So now the Arahat is liberated from that. He is totally the highest form of liberation, deliverance. He is fully enlightened and fully liberated. So this Arahat's life therefore becomes very, very different on earth. His whole life is dedicated to the promotion of happiness and promotion of higher spiritual qualities and values, so that human beings are freed, their minds are freed from bad karma, from bad action. So those who follow the Arahats, my goodness, they can never break, for instance, the Panchashila. And they will never be born in the lower planes at all. They will be born always in Devaloka and Brahmaloka and so on. They will go up and up and up. But even from the highest level of divine plane, one has to attain freedom. And that will come through transcendental consciousness, born of, you see, vipassana jnana. There are 10 states of vipassana jnana. That is the transcendental insight into the truth, into the real nature of Nibbana. Highest, you see, state of Nibbana. So through these, as you develop these higher stages of jnana, the 10 stages of jnanas, that means a direct experience. It's a knowledge in the sense of experience. Here you not merely know, but what you know, that you see, that you experience. And that is called vision. So, vimutti, jnana, darsana. So the direct knowledge, you see, direct knowledge, not indirect knowledge. Intellectual knowledge is always indirect. But intuitive, higher knowledge, insight, is direct knowledge, where you experience what you know. If you are endowed with one such jnana, and if you see that a bad consciousness has arisen in your mind, you can immediately put it down without any difficulty. If there is anger, you can immediately, completely put it down. And you can rouse at the same time love. So this is the power of jnana. And with that, darshana. So you are actually having a vision of nirvana. Sahavasya darsana sampadaya tayasu dhamma jahita bhavanti. With the attainment of direct vision of Nibbana, it is in the Ratana Sutta, explaining, describing the nature of a Sotapanna. He has had the first vision, first darshan of Nibbana. Direct vision of Nibbana. He experiences directly as a insight as well as a direct vision. The nature of Nibbana he directly experiences. So this is a very profound, it totally changes the consciousness. So you can never be born in the lower plane. And you go up and up. So an Arahat has done his job thoroughly. He has completely liberated the mind from all forms of karmic involvement. He can never perform any karma, intentional karma, leading to any rebirth in any plane of existence. That's a wonderful state of enlightenment. That is freedom from all, state of delusion and ignorance. He has no form of ignorance whatsoever. That is why he is enlightened. Enlightenment is what? Where there is no darkness of unknowing. That is enlightenment. So long you have a darkness, a spot of unknowing, not knowing. or ordinary people. A person may not know what is going to happen after 5 minutes. Whether he will die or he will live, or whether he will gain or lose, he doesn't know. The mind is enveloped in darkness. Then Arahat has dispelled every form of darkness. It is because you don't know that you commit all the bad karma. Say you get angry, that's a bad karma, mental karma. And when you are angry, you don't know the consequence of your anger. You don't know what is going to happen, what will be the result of that anger. It may lead to murder. It may lead to all kinds of horrible things. So because you don't know the consequence of that, because you don't know that your mind is enveloped by darkness of unknowing, you commit that bad karma. It's as simple as that. So ignorance goes with every evil state of mind. Every time one is involved in desire, one is also involved in ignorance or delusion. Every time hate, every time jealousy, any kind of evil state, it is bound to be ignorance that motivates, that is the mother of all evil. So now Arahat is totally freed from that. So his conduct, here in this sutta he says, is himself having few wishes, he talks to his fellow monks only on the benefits of few wishes. Nibbana has no wish. So when you attain Nibbana, how can you have any wish? That's the simple logic. So he is himself being contented.